Elizabeth is not just a realtor. She's your trusted advisor, passionate about helping you find your dream home or achieve top dollar for your property. Get ready for expert tips on finding a way out.
The rooms that you're in matter.
Yeah.
And if there's not a room to move in, then create one.
Being yourself.
Oh, we all bring different gifts to the table. We bring strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and all these other things. Anything that is organic or authentic to who you are, there's a reason behind it, and people are going to see the passion and they want to be a part of it.
Starting a chain reaction.
So now we're elevating other people, that they're finding their voice, they're finding their confidence. And when you find your voice and your confidence in yourself, then that cascades to so many other things. It cascades to your family, it cascades to your community, to your business.
Working with passion.
When you are doing something you love, it's not a job and it just flies by. I mean, it's funny, people are like, well, you took a big risk early on. And I said, I didn't take a risk. I was content, but that's not good.
And engaging conversations that will empower you in your work and life balance.
In business and in my life, comparison kills joy. There's so many external influences, and we can look at social media, or we can look
Pressure
at and other people up on stages or other people's businesses, and that's not who I am. But then you start comparing yourself to somebody and you're like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not enough, or, the reality is I am enough.
Welcome to the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast. I'm the founder and your host, Nicole Christopherson, and today's guest is an 8-time icon. And I say this because she's also a mother of 4, a fantastic friend, a community advocate, and an inspiration to people around the globe. Please welcome Elizabeth Riley.
Hello, friend. Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Thank you for coming in to hang with me. We've done a lot of talks over time, but today we're going to get candid and have some fun and let our listeners learn a little bit more about you and how you tick every day, every week, every month.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Because you do not stop.
I don't stop.
And I know specifically this year, I want to tune in. You've been really focusing on your work-life balance and your health, and you look fantastic. So tell me a little bit about what you've done this year to kind of keep going, because this girl hits the air and hits the skies and is rolling on wheels every day, every week. It's crazy.
Sometimes I look back and it is kind of crazy, but in the moment, I'm just doing.
Do you know what to do when you're not going somewhere?
No.
Okay.
I read this book and, I always used to say, and I always used to joke, I thrive in chaos, because I grew up in a very large family, lots of craziness, lots of chaos. Nothing was ever the same. And so I used to say I thrive in chaos, but I was reading this book and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, it was talking about being addicted to chaos. And I think that's really what it is. And that's not a good thing necessarily, because I don't know how.
It's a habit.
It's
like
a
we
habit.
have these habits though, right? Like you're used to going, you have a cadence of your life and like the pace you run on. So when you shift gears, which is what I kind of like to call it, you kind of don't know what to do with your time, or like, because you're not following a calendar or a schedule. Right. You have that freedom.
Right. And there's so many things I want to do and I love to do. And I just get pulled in a million different directions. But, that's one of the things in 2024 I'm going to be really focused on too, is because I don't really believe that there's a balance. You just kind of have to adjust for where you are in your life. But just taking some more me time.
Yep.
And I was starting to not feel so great. And I had to step back and say, I don't feel like I'm taking care of me. I'm not eating well. I was literally living in coffee shops, and I don't drink coffee usually. I do now.
She always says this, but I do see her drink coffee often, which tells you that she needs it.
I do now, right? Because I was always in meetings and coffee shops, but that's what I was living on. And I had to go, just get all that cleaned up and get my system cleaned up and start eating healthy and start just taking care of me, because if I'm not doing well, or if I'm not at my best, then nobody else benefits.
You need the energy to run the engine. You need that energy. And I talk about it a lot with my guests and a lot with people that I mentor about my lifestyle and my nutrition and stuff like that. And it's not like I'm not a meal prepper. I don't eat the same thing every day. All of it's like consistency and lifestyle. So you know what I mean? When your time allocations and responsibilities adjust, you adjust how your meals are going to fit into that. And when it becomes consistent, it's your lifestyle. Yeah. So then you're like, okay, I'm not going to eat at a coffee shop. I need to leave time to pick up a sandwich or order something or get something a little bit better for my body.
Or even eat breakfast in the morning, because then what would happen is I was starving and then you just grab whatever you find. So yeah, lots of changes. Being a mom of 4, I've got very busy kids.
And all at different grades and ages.
Yeah.
So you've got one getting ready to apply for colleges, which is phenomenal.
We've been in the middle of that, and I keep telling him I'm going to just crawl in the corner and cry because he's my first, and he's got everything in, and we're just waiting for everything. But then I start thinking about how quickly things are going, and my youngest always likes to say, well, this time next year he won't be with us. I'm like, don't say that. I'm not ready for that. So I just guess I think that I just never thought that this day would come where they're getting ready, and we've just done the best that we can to raise them the best we can and
model citizens.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great kids.
They are great kids. Yeah.
They've been at all of our youth ambassador events that we've hosted in the last year and contributed fabulously. But aren't you so proud?
Oh, I'm so
You've
proud.
led by example. And I know you mentor a lot of people and always say, you lead by example and you lift each other up and stuff. But that truly started in your family.
Absolutely.
And now you've got one that's growing his wings and he's going to be
excited.
flying off.
Oh, he's so well. I talk about lifting others as we climb, right? But also being a working mom. People are like, "Why do you work?" And the reality is, it makes me a better mom because I work, and I want my kids to see what hard work can bring and what work ethic looks like, and grit and determination and not giving up. And I think they're all a bunch of little negotiators just watching me grow up in the business, but I want them to see mom working hard. And it's fine to be able to have days where you're going to do something else and you're just not really working. But that's how I operate. And my kids, I see that in them, and that's what works for our family.
Well, and you have a fantastic partner. I mean, I know Wes is always behind you, and Matt's always told me, and to tell me if this is true for you too, he's always like, you are teaching them just by doing you.
Right.
So don't stop. I need to always remember to support you and have your back. And I think that's part of it. Like, you always need somebody supporting you as well. Like, the mom needs some support system also, you know what I mean? To remind you, because we do have those moments, those vulnerable moments where you're just like, wow, my kids need me. I have this going on in my business, and you have to stop, drop, and check real quick on how you're going to manage it. And ultimately, your family's number one. Your health, your family and your health are ultimate.
Right.
You can't be productive in business without their support, their love, and the health.
No, my family's my world. And if my family's fractured or there's something going on there, then everything else is thrown off balance. And I do have a lot of support. I'm very, very blessed. My husband is a huge support system, and he likes to tell everybody he's the trophy husband, or arm candy, as he likes to put it
there
too.
You go.
So, okay. But I also have support at home. I have, as far as help around the house, I have, in business, I have a lot of support. I have my team. I have my assistants, Kay, I have Jen, I have others that are just all helping us build, and all that comes together. And it just doesn't, it's just not one thing or one person. It just all has to be working harmoniously, if you will. But my family is definitely key. My kids, being a role model is great, because I want to raise smart, strong, compassionate kids that become smart, strong, compassionate adults in this world.
And we share that with them now. I mean, our business is remote. Let's talk about it. I mean, we're at a digital global brokerage. And so we are operating our business all over the place. We're not going to an office.
Right.
And so they get to see that firsthand, which I also think is really powerful, because the reality that they see on the media and on social media and in ads and magazines and stuff like that paints this perfect picture. And having them see really behind the scenes footage gives them that advantage and that preparation for life too, which is what I've embraced in the last few years, is really letting them hear our meetings and see what we're doing and respect that I'm there and have patience and ask me questions after.
Yeah. And seeing our failures.
Yes.
Right. And that's the other thing, to your point. The media makes everything look perfect, but then behind the scenes, your family's seeing the struggles and the challenges that come up. They're hearing the conversations, and they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So then they can apply it to whatever's going on in their life.
Yeah. My daughter's advocating for herself this year. She realized the importance of relationships with her teachers, and she's built those, and she's having a totally different experience. And that comes from our collaboration. She listens to all of our masterminds when she's around and stuff. And she realizes the power of communication and community, it's been cool. So talking about community, we have groups that you have invited me into and networks that you have been a part of creating that are huge. Like when I say people get on and they're part of like a Facebook group or whatever, there's 1,000 or this and that, but we have 2 groups in particular, and 3, you reminded me of another one before we started recording, that you've been instrumental in forming and creating from the start. So one of them is Family Tree, another one is the Tribe, and then Lead Hership also. And that doesn't even go into Work Lead Give when you were bringing people together during that time when Work Lead Give was doing their quarterly thing. So talk about when those started and what those mean to you now, because I know they're all very different.
Right.
But I mean, you didn't get into real estate to grow, 8, 10,000 person groups, right? Of collaboration. So when that started to now, like give us a little.
I always talk about the rooms that you're in matter.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the right rooms, then move rooms. And if there's not a room to move in, then create one. And so as I would look around and as we were growing within my business and within our company and our organization, and not only one state, but 2, like community and collaboration is huge for me. And I was missing that in a lot of ways. And I never wanted anybody to feel that way.
Yeah.
And so, Family Tree is a great example. We had 4 of us that were completely different states, completely different businesses, completely different personalities, right? It was me and 3 of these guys that are very strong, incredible people, but we were so different and I learned so much from them. And all 4 of us thought, we all bring different gifts to the table. We bring strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and all these other things. What if we brought this together? Because if we're looking for this collaboration and this
innovation.
If we're looking for this information and we're not finding it anywhere else, well, maybe others are looking for the same. And so we brought us all together collaboratively, just organically. That's what I love. Anything that is organic or authentic to who you are, there's a reason behind it, and people are going to see the passion and they want to be a part of it. And so Family Tree is 10,000 people strong. 10,000
people collaborating
that organically came together, right? No promise, no payment, no anything. It's like, where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? What can you provide? And we're also lifting other people that are like, I don't really have any value to add. Yeah, actually you do. So sometimes you have to have people in your world that are believing in you more than you believe in yourself. And Family Tree brought that together. And so 10,000 people and everybody's collaborating, learning on a daily basis. This is not just a once a month
and
time
you
of
as
thing.
The 4 founders or 4 original organizations that decided to join each other provide different feedback and different parts of our business to share with their groups. So it's been really neat being a part of it since I've been there for the last couple of years, having the different, I'm going to call them leaders, right? The personalities come on. When they're on and they're firing, they're active in Family Tree. And when you're busy and you're on traveling and you're speaking, at your engagements and stuff, and we're watching you touch other people in person, they're there firing off in Family Tree, sharing, what's fueling them right now, what's happening in their business. So it's been pretty cool.
What's been really fun for me to watch is, yes, the 4 of us were doing this all the time, and it was always us. And then what's really fun is to step back and lead from behind. And so now we're elevating other people that they're finding their voice, they're finding their confidence. And when you find your voice and your confidence in yourself, then that cascades to so many other things. It cascades to your family, it cascades to your community, to your business. And so that's what's been really fun in that environment. And I'm super blessed to, I don't even say I had a big part of it. It's just people join people and they all come together and everybody wins.
And then from there, you started Lead Hership, which has been great.
Fearlessly Authentic Women.
Authentic Women.
Yeah, in real estate. And that was just us coming together because there's, we're in real estate and there's 65% of women are the real estate agents, right? It's like, where are the voices? Where is where are the voices that come together and the strength? Because I know we have a lot of strength, but we weren't all coming together and
just
really.
Like everybody dresses differently. Everybody runs their business differently. And 65% of an industry that's female dominated, the women need to talk about what they're doing and share playbooks a little bit, or success stories or triumphs and, tribulations.
Or when you're a leader, sometimes you're on an island or you feel like you're at the top and nobody's really around that you can, because as a leader, you don't want to show weakness necessarily, although vulnerability is a strength, but you're always leading. So what's really nice and what this group was about is all of us coming back going, okay, I'm spent. because we're pouring into everybody else's cup all the time.
Yep.
Who's pouring into ours? Because we have to fill our cups. And so that's really what that organization was, where it didn't matter what brokerage you're at. It doesn't matter, what state you're in. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Let's all fill each other's cup. And so from that, we did that virtually. We do that monthly now. And it's just really fun to see how that cascades into other markets.
Yeah. No, it's been great. It started during the pandemic, correct?
Virtually.
Yeah. Wonderful. And then we have, I'm just going to touch on each one. Then we have the tribe.
Yeah, the tribe is just another organization where
thousands of people.
Yeah, we have probably about 12,000 in that one. And it's again, just different people in needing different environments and needing different rooms. And what's funny is they're all in all of the groups.
Yeah.
But they're just getting different things from each one. And so
inspiring one another.
Yeah.
I mean, they're super inspirational.
Oh my gosh.
They have a fire and an energy, and they have talents like in systems and procedures that like you and I, we're always like, we're not really that good at that stuff. But they're always willing to share how and what and why they're running around dancing and laughing, because they're so good at things that we're not,
Their energy is off the charts, but it's infectious.
It is
right?
infectious.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, I can do anything. I can run through a wall. And I connect with them every morning. And so we're all in those groups as well. And so it's just, again, you never know what somebody's going through, what they're needing. And especially when I'm speaking around the country, I don't know who I'm going to touch, or who's going, to hear something that they needed to hear that day. And they all come back, and the feedback that we get, I was like, wow, I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm saying. And it's not about me.
Because you're always active. You are always active in these platforms. And I know you take tech breaks, and I know you step away for bits of time, but you are always the first one to respond. If somebody has a question and they need a referral or they need a resource somewhere, you know exactly who to connect them with.
I'm a connector.
Yeah, you are a major connector. So when I say she's in these organizations that have 10,000, 12,000, Fearlessly Authentic Women has, I don't even know, thousands. When somebody poses a question, it's 9 times out of 10, Elizabeth has the person they need to contact to get the answer to it, or she's putting an answer in there.
Yeah.
So are you using dictation on your phone? Are you constantly like this?
I try, but it drives me nuts when it comes across wrong. And I'm like, I don't even know what it just sent. So I text a lot. I just want to be really responsive. I want to treat people like I want to be treated.
Yep.
If I need something, it's not just something casual. And so I want to be responsive. And so, no, I'm always on my phone constantly.
You are always on your phone.
I'm trying to do better with that. I shouldn't say try.
She does put her phone down when we get on flights. So we have had fun on flights, especially ones that don't have Wi-Fi.
Right.
We
especially
put our
the ones
phones
without.
down and we talk.
And with family, I mean, at dinner, because what's happening,
you time block your day. This is another mom, tip and trick, working mom tip and trick. You block your calendar.
I block my
day.
calendar, yes, because you have to. Otherwise, your calendar is going to control you and your schedule is going to control you. And so I block my calendar in the mornings. I mean, my husband takes the kids to school for me, but I still block it because I'm up with them, getting them ready, starting their day off. And I don't want to be focusing on my phone or business when I should be focusing on what's most important to me, right? And then, because there's plenty of time during the day. And then in the afternoon, I block it too. And here's the reality. People don't need to know when I'm doing something with my kids, right? It's blocked because that's what's important to me. You show me your calendar, you're going to show me what's important. And so time blocking is not something I used to do. It's only been the last few years. It has changed the game. But also when I'm with my family or with my friends, putting my phone away. And it's so hard because you do want to be so responsive and
or you go to take it out to document you're with them because you're also really good at that.
Yeah.
Or I like to document a lot of stuff. We both do. And so then you take it out to like document something and you're like, you see the messages. So you have to kind of.
Yeah, I can control you. So we're all failing forward and it just takes some time and it works out eventually.
So she's been part of collaborating with these awesome groups and we've talked about that, but she's also earned a title. Elizabeth, you have a title.
Oh, I have a title.
And it's Queen E. And some people only call you Queen E, but when did Queen E start?
This is...
And did it catch you? Like, were you like, whoa?
Totally caught
that's like
me
an
off
honor.
Guard. It's an honor.
It's a total honor.
And it totally caught me off guard though. I was like, no. But, so Queenie, it kind of started because I've been at our company early on. People say, oh my gosh, you had this big vision and you did all these things and you saw what was coming. I had no idea. But it comes back to joining people. People join people. And I really love the people that were doing these really cool things, and I wanted to be a part of it. And so early on, I joined this company, and now we've gone to, 90,000 agents globally. Well, they all really see me as, what they were calling me for a while was the grandmother. And I was like, hold on, time out.
I did not know that.
I don't want to be the grandmother or whatever. No, thank you. But there was right after COVID. We were in, or maybe it was right before COVID. We were in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was speaking at an event. And I was speaking at an event, and it was one of my first ones, and I was completely in my head. And I said, I don't really have anything to share or give. And I had some people that believed in me saying, absolutely, you have so much work. We want you on our stage. You're going to be on our stage. And I did it for them. But in reality, I got so much out of that. But right before I went on the stage, Kurt Schuwall out of Michigan was introducing me. And he said, this is Queen Elizabeth. And so he would call me Queen Elizabeth. And I was like, I kind of ducked down because that was so uncomfortable for me, because I kind of lead, like I said, I lead from the back. If you know the DISC profile, I'm a high S. I'm much more of an introvert than people think I am. And so having that attention on me was uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side of being uncomfortable is growth. So, you've got to look at it that way. And then Terrence Murphy, who's one of my dearest partners, and I adore him, and he's one of the leaders of the tribe. He just started calling me Queenie, and he'd call me the busy bumblebee for a long time, and Queenie, the busy bumblebee. So, a couple of people that just love on me and believe in me just started calling me Queenie. And now literally from stages and
the people you've never met, they're like, Queenie.
They all call me Queenie. So yeah, I'm Queen Elizabeth or Queenie, and now it's endearing. It
is.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor, but it took me back for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told her before she came on, we're gonna do like a fun little fire round.
Let's do it.
Because these are just kind of like fun questions that I think people see you buzz around. And I don't like using the B word and saying busy, because you're impacting, you're growing your community, you're touching people, you're mentoring and leading. But like, what's the number one thing you do when you get back from a trip? And sometimes I know you're only home for 12 hours, 24 hours, but like you wheel in the door, like what's the first thing you like to do? What's like,
my husband used to travel internationally all the time for his job, and I was always at home. And my little one not so long ago told me, she's like, and my husband's retired now, so he's home a lot more. But it allows me to do the things I want to do that I haven't been able to do, right? So it's a catch-22 because I'm following my passion, and I love it so much. But at the same time,
but it's a buzz. You're buzzing when you're going, and you're mentoring people, and you're talking, and then you're coming home. And we talk about when, you know what I mean?
And so she was like, I didn't know that we were going to swap you for dad and you're gone all the time. And so I've really taken that to heart, that when I come home, I need to be home. I need to be present. So when I get home, usually I'm like, hi, see everybody. And I take the time to go talk to each one of them. Like, how was your day? What have I missed? What's going on? And just really building that relationship.
Like that touch. What I've noticed is it's the mom time, but it's that touch.
Yeah.
Like I've never been so physically like affectionate with my kids. I mean, I'm a great mom, but like in terms of going out of my way to make sure I just stand in the kitchen and hug them for a little bit. Well, and just smell their hair and just breathe with them. And that just it kind of re-engages us and resets us.
Well, but all four of mine are so different. So two of mine are great with touch.
Yeah.
Right? Two of them, not so much. So you got to figure out what their love language is.
Yep.
Like my two younger ones, oh my gosh, they'll just cuddle with me all day long. And I love that. But I just go spend time with them. And then figure out what we want to do. Do we want to go to dinner as a family, or do we want to make something as a family, or do we want to just cuddle up on the couch and just watch movies, and just take that time that I have with them to make those memories and just soak it all in. So it just depends on how long I've gone or what's going on. Because again, they're four very, very busy kids in sports and activities and everything else. So sometimes, we're just ships passing, but I just want to take all those opportunities to love on them as much as I can.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So important. It makes everything worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when you get that love.
Yeah. And I know how you are with your girls, and it's just like, it's the best thing. Right?
It is. It is. I get sad sometimes when I don't get to like say goodnight to them when I'm gone and stuff, like those little key moments too, of like checking in the morning and checking in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whether, you know what I mean, I'm sending them to school or it's a phone call before they leave for school because I'm somewhere else. Yeah. So we definitely have a good relationship, and we have to make sure we nurture that, like whenever Matt and I land back at home.
Well, there's so many external influences that, I want our family to be, and we're not perfect by any means, but I want them to know this is my safe haven. This is what's going to keep me on the right path, because it's so easy. If you're not present, somebody else will be. And I when I think about that, it's not okay. I love being a mom.
Yep.
I love being a wife. I love having my family, and I don't want anybody else to interfere
if we
with
made
that.
the kids sit and watch like a cheesy Christmas Hallmark movie last night, and they're like, one of them wouldn't sit by us, and like Matt and I looked at each other. I'm like, okay, let's go. We're gonna beg them until we each get one right here sitting with us. We've been gone for a week. Like, we have to get that. And then it was just, they melted right in. But yeah, it's those like fun little unique times you get outside of the normal routine, right? Because we all have a crazy normal routine. What is a life motto or mantra that you use? And if you have a couple, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But
so in business and in my life, and I say it a lot of times as a reminder to myself, but I always talk about comparison kills joy, right? Because again, there's so many external influences, and we can look at social media, or we can look
pressure
at,
and
other people up on stages or other people's businesses. And, that's not who I am. But then you start comparing yourself to somebody and you're like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not enough. Or, the reality is I am enough. I am enough. And I want people to know that, especially in whatever they're doing. Now, if you're talking, I tell my kids this too, but with my kids, I think the motto is more like, the sooner we do this, the sooner we're done. I mean, that's been my motto lately, because everything's a complaint, or all four of them aren't on the same page, or trying to get them all to just take one picture. I'm like, the sooner we do this, the sooner we're done. So I find myself saying that a whole lot more, but I would say overall it's comparison kills joy.
I love that, because it's so true.
Yeah.
And you can catch yourself and reset with that.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Right.
What else about your fun experiences that you've had recently? What's like, let's see. We talked about travel. We talked about family. We talked about you're bringing people together. You're going to be with your family through the holidays, I'm quite certain. What do you want your legacy to be, Elizabeth?
You've
been at EXP for
8.5
years.
I know, right?
And
yeah, it doesn't seem like 8.5 years, right? When you are doing something you love, it's not a job, and it just flies by, right? So I don't know I've never really thought about my legacy so much. I just take one day at a time. Sometimes with my calendar, I just take 1 hour at a time. But, with my family, I just, again, want to create environments and memories and so much love within our family that, my kids just are such amazing people in their communities and in their lives and in their families in the future, right? And that we're always so tight-knit. That's what I really, really want. And, I'm creating some things now that's going to set them up for success later, but quite frankly, they don't even know about it. And because I want them to work and appreciate things in a different way than just being given, right?
Absolutely.
So my legacy, I want to create a legacy that spans not just past me, but past my kids and past their kids and their kids and their kids, and break the generational sin, if you will.
And
of
those
the
of you that
challenges
know
we've had.
Elizabeth, she's well on her way to do this, because she did make big, bold decisions when she was in the room with the right people, and changed her brokerage 8 years ago. And
yeah, but I didn't know what I was doing.
I know, but I didn't know what I was doing by joining a digital global brokerage 2 years ago.
Right.
And I sit and I look at certain parts of my business that I don't need to monitor and I don't need to track. It's my company showing me their support.
Right.
And when I talk about the rev share and we talk about our agent equity, and I just do my business. I love what I do, and I do it different than anybody else does it. And, I've been doing it for 20 years, but those key components from the last 2 years that I just knew were there and I knew they were happening. And then I look back at them, say when my business is a little bit slower because the market's changing or anything like that. And I go, wow, that brings it full circle.
Yeah.
Because
you were setting yourself up for success when you didn't even realize you were doing
exactly.
that. And for me, it's funny. People are like, well, you took a big risk early on. And I said, I didn't take a risk. The risk was staying where I was. I was bored. I was uninspired. I was, not living my best life. And I'm blessed to have the opportunities that I have. And on the other side of, I was content.
Yeah.
But that's not good. I don't want to be content, right? I was talking from the stage the other day that what happens when you have radical contentment? It leads to radical generosity, right? And being just content and bored and uninspired, nobody's going to win. So I had to make a move. And on the other side of fear, on the other side of contentment is growth.
Yep.
And so for me, that worked. And I just didn't want to be bored. I don't sit well. We've already experienced
it's
that.
happened. I felt it before in my business. And so I can speak from experience, and I am not a sales person in terms of whatever. I share my story, and my story was, I've been in an industry for 20 years. And when I hit my 13-year mark or my 11-year mark, I was like, okay, I'm going to get my broker's license. Okay, I'm going to start my own brokerage. And I didn't know what that was going to be like, being the broker and being here and not having, like that collaboration I had of being at a brokerage with a bunch of other people and other leaders and stuff like that. And so I got myself really involved with our board and, being on committees and doing things to get that. But it still is very lonely there.
It is.
And so that's the other cool full circle thing for me, is being at an agent-owned brokerage where we're all sharing playbooks and we're all leading and we're all collaborating. I don't feel like there's any one person at the top. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody is playing together and it's just blowing up. And so it's so inspiring.
And the relationship that, I was so excited when we were first introduced, and we hit it off.
It's our speed coffee date. The person that says she never drinks coffee, it was a speed coffee date.
Speed coffee date. But we hit it off immediately because I was like, oh my gosh, people join people. But you didn't have an understanding of what you were stepping into either. And it was a lot of faith.
It was so new compared to how I was doing business and how I was exposed to the business and what I had seen innovate our business in my market. But it was a whole new way of looking at it. And it was eye-opening.
Yeah. So I think there's so many opportunities, retirement down the road. I don't think I'd ever retire well. I think my legacy for my family is huge for this business. I love being a real estate agent. I love being in transactions. I love serving my clients at the highest level. My business is 100% referral. Lux Property Group has been very blessed that, I've got Meredith and Leanne, and we've got our core group. But as far as bigger things, I've really been loving sharing the story. And it was a whirlwind last week. I was in Detroit and Philadelphia and Toronto and speaking at these events and meeting different people that I didn't have opportunities to know in other settings. And I think my biggest takeaway is that I want to keep doing that. I want to keep growing together and keep building and talking about what an amazing company this is and an opportunity. But it's really about the personal development, right? We're so much bigger than the transactions anymore. And so I think I have a responsibility and an opportunity to share that with others. And just taking one day at a time.
I agree 100%. Because the sky's the limit. And I think that, it's debilitating thinking about retirement and walking away from this fantastic community of professionals, because it all helps us. You're a real estate investor, you know what I mean? You're teaching your children about it.
I'm an angel investor. I don't call myself a coach, right? But I
lead by example. You're not a coach, you lead by example. You're not going back every day and building a playbook.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Nor am I. As I've grown my team, it's been organically, and it's just been, join me. This is what I do. This is what I have to share.
Yeah.
This is what worked. This is what didn't work. And let's build out your playbook together.
Right.
But I do not lead like that. I'm like, I shadow me and learn,
Well, and then the friendships and the relationships along the way. And so whereas we all used to be competitors or kind of arm's length, think about the relationships that we have.
Yeah.
I think about, the people that have come into our world just because you and I've met, or then I've introduced you to other people and you've introduced me to other people. And that's what fills my soul. And that's
it's not just the fun
going.
stuff. Like, I think everybody that's listening looks at realtors and they see our marketing and they see how everybody kind of has their own branding and their own style or whatnot. But there is nitty gritty. Like, we are constantly learning new contracts, new forms, new ways to bring two parties together. Not one transaction's ever the same. We are, therapists in a lot of ways with regards to personalities, but then we're also still trying to continue our education and continue to learn. And so when we're able to lean on each other within the industry and collaborate and learn from everybody else's experiences, it's not just to take pictures and videos and selfies and throw it up there and look like we're all hanging out together. we're literally sitting down talking about those authentic, vulnerable moments in our transactions, with our clients so we can each continue to learn and grow. That is our continuing education.
Yeah. And figuring out solutions.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I'm always saying there's a solution. What's the solution? And
you do.
So I do say that. I'm like, I am not going to give up. And then being like, to your point, there's people that are, we're the big fish in some circles, but we're the tiny fish in others, right? And I don't ever want to be the big fish.
No, we're not comparing ourselves to that.
No. And so I love being in rooms where I'm learning. And so that's been a blessing, just not only from my business, but my personal life as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you came on today because I know, because we do have too much time that goes by. We see each other on camera quite often.
I know. We're going to change that. We're going to be in person more, you and I.
I know. Well, thank you so much for joining me and coming on the Work Hard, Smile Large podcast. And as always, we end every episode, work hard,
smile large.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
And there you have it, dear listeners. As we reach the end of this episode, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us on this journey, for lending us your ears and your time. Work hard, smile large.